I want to say something that just may challenge the way you have been taught to think about parenting. I don't think the behavior is always the real starting point. Okay, maybe you don't either. I think behavior is where we start because behavior is what we can see. It's what we're experiencing in the moment. It is right there in front of us and it's causing an emotional reaction. Okay, we see refusal and meltdowns and screaming and shut down and back talk and control and always hear I can't or I won't. The child who could do it yesterday and then just suddenly can't or won't do it today. And because that is what we see, that's what we try to jump in and fix. We try to stop the behavior, minimize the behavior, correct the behavior, manage the behavior, maybe even reward the behavior, even consequence the difficult behavior. What, right? So what if for an autistic and neurodivergent kids, behavior is actually not even near the root. It is the surface. What if behavior is just the signal? What if the nervous system is the part we have been missing? This is where so many parents get stuck because most parenting advice is built around what the child is doing. If they refuse, you are told to be more consistent. If they melt down, you're told, don't give in. If they push back, talk back, you are told, hold your boundaries. And if they avoid, you are told to maybe increase expectations. And listen, I'm not saying boundaries do not matter. Okay, they do. They really do. And I'm not saying expectations don't matter because they do too. But when a child's nervous system is already overloaded and it's feeling threatened or in survival mode, the way we bring expectations in, it really matters because a dysregulated nervous system does not respond the same way a regulated nervous system responds, right? This is the piece so many parents were never really taught, especially when you're parenting an autistic child, a child with a PDA profile, maybe ADHD, anxiety, sensory stress, burnout, or any combination of them, or fluctuating capacity. Okay, sometimes your kid can access the skill and sometimes they can't. Sometimes the request is just fine. And sometimes the same exact request feels like pressure and threat or loss of control to their nervous system. Okay, they're not choosing this. Sometimes the shower is just a shower. And sometimes the shower is sensory overload, transition stress, demand stress, body awareness, shame, loss of autonomy, any and all these things. And from the outside, it really just looks like behavior because they didn't do that yesterday. But underneath it, it's really a nervous system response. And this is why the behavior lens only gets parents so far. It may help for a little while or just sometimes. It may work on a good day. It may work when your child actually has capacity. But the second your kid is dysregulated or overloaded or in survival mode, those tools, they just start to fall apart and they're not there. And then what do we do as parents? We start blaming ourselves. We still start feeling guilty and shameful. Why can't I figure this out? Why does nothing work? Why does my child just seem impossible? Why are they doing this to me? Am I being too soft, too hard? Am I making things worse? Why can't they do it one day and not the next? These just flood us, right? And the last question is huge, okay? Why can they do it one day and not the next? That's what fluctuating capacity looks like. The skill is there. It exists in the brain. But the ability to access that skill changes depending on that nervous system state. Stress changes capacity. Sensory load even changes capacity. Sleep does, social pressure, masking, that all changes that capacity. Shame, demands, transitions. And so when capacity drops, well, behavior changes, right? That's what we see. We see that behavior change. So if we only look at the behavior, we're actually missing the real problem. We just see refusal, but miss maybe the threat. We see control, but miss some panic. We see attitude, but we miss the shame that might be causing it. We see laziness, but we miss that shutdown. We see manipulation, but we miss maybe a kid trying desperately to regain a sense of safety. And then, while all this is happening, mom's or dad's nervous system is reacting too. because you're not watching this from a calm, neutral place, right? You are living completely inside it. This is your experience too. You're tired and you're overstimulated, and you might be scared or frustrated or bracing for the next explosion. You're trying to hold the boundary, protect the sibling, get out the door, save the day, avoid the spiral, and not lose yourself in the process. So now we do not just have one nervous system reacting, we have two. Your kid's nervous system is reacting to the demand. Your nervous system is reacting to your child's reaction. And that's where everything just escalates so fast. Blink of an eye, right? This is why I believe parents need a different lens. Not softer parenting, not some new parenting style, not permissive parenting, not just let them do whatever they want. A more accurate lens, a nervous system lens, because when you understand what is happening underneath the behavior, you can respond differently. You stop asking only something like, how do I make this stop, or how do I help them? And you start asking, what is this behavior telling me? What is their nervous system reacting to? What demand may feel too big right now, and where is their capacity? And then, what is my nervous system doing right now? And what support would help us together move through this instead of making it worse? That's the shift that really matters, because you cannot consequence a nervous system into safety. No, it's never going to work. You can't lecture a child into regulation. You cannot shame a child into capacity. And you cannot use typical parenting tools in moments where the nervous system is already in survival mode and expect it to work the same way. This is the part that needs to be said out loud. For many neurodivergent kids, especially autistic kids, the nervous system is not a side note. It's got to be central. Okay, research has found differences in early amygdala development in some autistic children, including faster growth, larger size in childhood. Okay, and the amygdala is deeply involved in threat detection and emotional salience. So, why do we not want to oversimplify autism into one brain structure? It does support what many parents already see. Some kids move through the world with a nervous system that detects threat and pressure and overwhelm much faster than we expect. That's really what we want to take away from that. Okay, the National Institutes of Health, the NIH. And if that is true, then we cannot keep acting like behavior is the whole story, because this is what they found. We have to stop asking, how do I control this behavior? And we want to start asking, what is the child's nervous system experiencing right now in this moment? That's actually the missing piece. That is where the support starts to become much more accurate. And that's where parents begin to feel less like they are guessing all the time. Right? Kill two birds with one stone. Help us both. And this is all the work I do inside Empowered Mom Method. I help moms move beyond that label and beyond the surface behavior into what is actually happening underneath. Fluctuating capacity, nervous system stress, hidden demands, shutdowns, meltdowns, resistance, all those survival mode reactions. And then also the painful moments where your kid's nervous system is just overwhelmed, and yours is too. Because when you understand the nervous system, the behavior finally starts to make more sense. And when it makes more sense, you can respond clearer, with more clarity. You know what's going on. You feel confident. You're more steady. And in the moments that really matter the most. So if you've been trying every parenting strategy and still ending up in the same loop, that same painful loop, like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Is it going to work this time? Is it not? Well, you may just need a different lens. Maybe beyond the behavior, beyond the label, into the nervous system. That's where the real work begins.